big news from BlackRock this morning. The company's CEO, Larry Fink's annual letter is out, and the world's largest asset manager now announcing the firm will make investment decisions with environmental sustainability at its core. In that letter, Fink writes the following. He says, the evidence on climate risk is now compelling investors to reassess core assumptions of modern finance. And in the near future, and sooner than most anticipate, there will be a significant reallocation of capital.
And I was thinking about all the different crises we've dealt with in my career, and it's very clear to me the physical changes that we may see with climate change are more permanent. We don't have a Federal Reserve to stabilize the world. This is bigger. It requires more planning. It requires more public-private connections together to solve these problems. And I do believe many of these problems could be solved, but the actions have to begin now.
I would say we're in a climate crisis, just like a financial crisis, where action needs to be taken. Now, this is a slow burn crisis, if you will, so it's more difficult to act. That's part of the challenge.
When I meet with younger investors, with the Robinhood people, with people who trade, millennials, they ask first, well, is the company just spoiling the environment?
Americans believe climate change is real, and that number goes up every single month. They believe that it is man-made, and that number increases every month, and that both political and business leaders need to do more right now to address it.
Today, Microsoft leader Satya Nadella laid out a bold mission for the world's largest software company.
We must begin to offset the damaging effects of climate change.
Now Microsoft is announcing a moonshot promise to make that happen.
Today we are making the commitment that by 2030, Microsoft will be carbon negative.
Microsoft doesn't want to just become carbon neutral. They want to actually negate their carbon footprint going back more than 4 decades.
Microsoft will be carbon negative by 2030. And what that means, obviously, is that these guys are putting the hammer to everybody, suppliers, themselves, whatever's necessary, to basically reverse what's going on for hundreds of years. And I think they can do it because, remember, they are a powerful force, maybe the most powerful, especially when it comes to data centers, of almost any company on Earth. So I think they can make an impact. I think this is real. This is not greenwashed.
I mean, I think it's something like, 10 EV models that are expected to launch this year. And now we've got these reports about GM relaunching the Hummer as an electric vehicle, too.
All electric, zero emissions, zero limits. Hummer EV from GMC.
We're tracking over 100 vehicles that are being introduced to market that are full battery electric. That's kind of the wave that we're seeing, or tsunami in this case.
In the next 18 months, 2 years, the price of an electric vehicle, like for like categories, is going to drop below that for a gas-powered vehicle for the first time. And it will continue to fall because we're riding down the battery cost curve decline.
Since the 1980s, the number of weather-related loss events has tripled on an inflation-adjusted basis. Insurance losses from these events have increased from around $10 billion per year during the 1980s to around $50 billion annually over the past decade.
From floods to droughts and wildfires, the threat of increasingly extreme weather to homes is clear, but the risk to the mortgage market of a climate foreclosure crisis is just now coming into focus.
Some say all of this should be a wake-up call to the nation's banks and mortgage lenders.
You have $1 trillion of real estate at risk in coastal markets. It's about time you start paying attention to that.
But the challenges currently posed by climate change pale in significance compared with what might come. And the far-sighted amongst you, and we know this from a survey we've just done, the far-sighted amongst you are anticipating broader global impacts on property migration, political stability, as well as food and water security.
Your letter effectively suggests that long-term fossil fuels will not be a good investment.
We believe in most cases fossil fuels will not be a good investment.
Once climate change becomes a defining issue for financial stability, it may already be too late.
I'm done with fossil fuels. They're done. I mean, big pension funds saying, listen, we're not going to own them anymore.
I wrote it in mind to, as the world's largest asset manager, to try to inform more people of where we believe asset allocation is going, where we believe the world of finance is moving towards, and we all need to be better prepared.
And it's actually kind of happening very quickly. It's going to be a parade. It's going to be a parade that says, look, these are tobacco, and we're not going to own them.